remember the whole idea that this was a dire national security threat, a danger to our nation? We had to get this over here right away. It had to be done before Christmas. It was so important. It was so significant. The country was in such jeopardy. The jeopardy was so serious that it had to be done immediately. Let's hold on to the articles of impeachment for a month to see if the House could force the Senate to adopt rules that they wanted, which is not the way the Constitution is set up. But it was such a dire emergency. It was so critical for our nation's national interest that we could hold them for 33 days. Danger, danger, danger.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we take a look at the latest new Q posts, and they tell us a lot about what is to come, giving us more predictive markers to look at. Plus, we're going to take a deep dive into what's happening with this impeachment sham hoax that's continuing in the Senate, plus a whole bunch of breaking news stories that you guys are definitely going to want to stick around and check out. Hi, my name is Craig. Welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. You guys know the drill. We always start by saying thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified as soon as these videos get posted. We always come over here and check the Q board, and yes, we do have a few new Q posts which we're going to cover here on this episode, so you guys are going to want to stick around and check all of it out. And we're going to get started right here. Q post 3814 is where we left off. We're picking up at Q post 3815, and this is a tweet that we are pointed to by Q, this one right here. And this is of, I guess, Nancy Pelosi having a meeting in her district where her constituents, who are mostly illegal aliens, who are demanding to have full citizenship, and I'm sure health care for free, and I'm sure a bunch of other unwarranted benefits that, you know, are usually only afforded to actual U.S. citizens, basically calling her a liar. And it's almost it's hilarious in the sense that these people don't even understand that even their own base, the constituency that they're trying to use and they're trying to manipulate, see right through their lies. So it's hilarious to see this. But here, I'll play the clip real quick. So as you saw there, they were yelling at her saying, you have the audacity to tell us you're fighting deportation, and just calling her a liar. And I think one of the major things that people need to remember with Nancy Pelosi is the connections between her family and the former governor of California, Jerry Brown, and his father, and Gavin Newsom, the now mayor or governor of California, and how there's been basically three families controlling California for decades now, besides a very small stint where Ronald Reagan became the governor. But even then, they've had people in place, and it ties back to the Gettys, and it's the most corrupt syndicate out there. And these people have entrenched themselves inside this bureaucracy, and they've gamed it for their own benefit to make themselves millionaires, and then they lie to the people that they need to exploit. As you can see here, they lied to these dreamers, I guess, that, you know, they're going to keep them from getting deported. Well, guess what? They don't really care whether you're deported or not. They just want you to vote for them during the election cycle so that they can claim you as their, you know, virtue signal of how great they are. And then when the rubber meets the road, they don't really care if you stay or go, right? So this is important to understand, and that's why they could care less. You deport all these people, and then they'll bring in more illegals to vote and keep them in the political machine power. You bring in more, I guess, naive people to believe the lies that you tell and then vote for you. And that's the system they have going. And Q says, what happens when people learn the truth? What happens when people wake up? They will not be able to walk down the street. The Great Awakening, Q. And there you have it. Q told us a long time ago, these people won't, once everybody figures out what they've done, they won't be able to walk down the street, because you can't just entrench yourself in a bureaucracy, enrich yourself and your family and friends, and ignore the will of the people who voted you, the constituency, and then manipulate them to exploit them, and then not expect the people to rise up against you. I mean, these people have basically dug their own graves, and now they're going to have to lie in them, because they are the ones who are the most hypocritical, the biggest liars, the biggest deceivers. And that's the kind of people that we're dealing with here. And that goes all the way into the impeachment of President Trump. So the next one here, Q says this is a context post on FISA, meaning the FISA court. And it's this right here, saying Attorney General Barr says human trafficking is, quote, modern day slavery, unquote, says the issue is a, quote, top priority of the whole administration, unquote, and pledges that the Justice Department will, quote, do all in its power to bring human traffickers to justice, unquote. So we know through following this information for so long, and if you guys are new to this, go back, watch any episode from before, and we'll probably cover it here or there, but there has been a massive problem with human trafficking, and then this human trafficking is connected to larger, much more sinister operations, including things like child sex trafficking that was used to not only exploit children and to sell them on the open global black market as is the most disgusting and inhumane, evil thing you could do, but then also to use these children who were sex trafficked allegedly to frame and to blackmail and leverage their way against powerful people. And that's what Epstein Island really was, right? Q has told us to pray for all the children who went there and were never seen again. All the children who were maybe picked up in Haiti and never to be seen again. And now you have these politicians who are running away. Hillary's going to go be a professor in Ireland or something, trying to get away from what is coming, because they know what's coming. They know that we, the people, are going to expose them, and that we understand that this issue about human trafficking is so much bigger than anybody really covers, and that it's a global industry, and that it's one of the key points of the Trump administration is to fight this evil, really, because that's the only way you can describe it at this point. And the fact that we continue to see these task force, and we can continue to see this being pushed as a top priority by the Justice Department, tells you everything you need to know about what our position on this is now. Because we are standing up to this, we are going to expose it, we're going to destroy these people who are hurting innocent children and committing these atrocities here domestically and abroad. We will stop it. And Q just says that's a context post for FISA. So how does that connect to FISA? I think it's a context post in the sense that I've heard from some of my sources that certain FISA judges may have been, let's just say, compromised. And especially certain judges who are working on very high profile cases that may or may not have been connected to the president and General Flynn and others. And that some of these judges themselves were found to be in positions where, not only were they compromised, but that was leveraged in order to gain the system for the benefit of these criminals who are continuing to illegally operate. I'm just going to leave it there, because a lot more has to come out as far as facts go before we can really make these pronounced accusations directly. But let's just say right now, there is enough that I've been going through, that I've worked on with sources who I have, to suggest that that's a part of the ongoing investigation, where Attorney General Barr and Durham and others inside the U.S. Department of Justice are actively investigating these kinds of crimes, and how it all connects together will shock the conscience of Americans and people of the world ultimately, when the truth finally does come out. And I think it is going to be big when it does. So with that, the next one here finally is an older tweet from Representative Adam Schiff. And we've talked about this one before, where here, of course, he's in Lithuania to speak at the NATO conference. Baltic allies alarmed by Russia's actions, hashtag United for Ukraine. and they're holding up the Ukrainian flag with the United for Ukraine on it, and there's Adam Schiff right in the middle, happy as a clam, back in 2014, where he thought he would be untouchable forever, and that they never thought that Hillary would lose, and they thought the next in line was going to be Hillary, who was going to continue their scams in Ukraine and across the world globally in order to continue to enrich themselves at the expense of the American people, at the expense of our sovereignty and our security here in our country, in the United States. So that's what we're up against, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what we're up against. And Q's basically putting this out there saying it's coming soon, Q. So we're going to connect all of these dots together as we continue to get more information. But at this point, ultimately, you're seeing what's happening on Capitol Hill. You're seeing what's happening in this Senate sham hoax trial, where they won't even, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who's presiding over this trial in the Senate of the president over these bogus impeachment articles, that he couldn't even pass the litmus test of allowing senators in our republic to ask a question using a person's name who is allegedly the whistleblower, without even saying in the context of calling him out as being a whistleblower. But he couldn't pass the litmus test of just allowing Senator Rand Paul to ask a question about this Eric CIA fella and in something related to meetings that were taking place before all this whistleblower stuff started happening, where it seems to look like the whistleblower is actively working with former National Security Council members and active members of Congress in order to set up this impeachment hoax sham, where he came forward with secondhand information and filed a whistleblower complaint, and now he's being protected. And why is he being protected? Well, somebody pointed out something very interesting over on the boards here about Eric CIA, because he may have had a more active role in the Ukraine that may have been very devious, devilish, evil. And we're going to have to take a look at these insinuations, and I'm going to leave this to you as a theory, or give this to you as a theory. I don't have any evidence yet to back this up. This seems to be one of the prevailing theories that it's out there. This Count Greg Rubini, whoever this person is, they've been putting out a lot of stuff for a long time. I'm not going to say whether it's real or not, because it's hard to verify some of the stuff that they throw out there. But I'll give it to you here, and you guys tell me what you think. So here's basically the thread in question here, and it talks about, did Eric CIA, John Brennan, Obama order the assassination of 100 civilians in Ukraine to engineer a coup d'etat there? That's a question, right? And this is the theory that seems to be being put out by Greg Rubini, saying Eric CIA is involved in much darker things than you can imagine. Joe Biden, John Brennan, Barack Obama are also in on it, and Victoria Nuland, the Ukraine Holocaust. It says in February 2014, there was a coup d'etat in Ukraine, a violent coup. There was a massacre in the main square of the capital, Kiev. 100 people were killed. There were snipers at windows of tall buildings surrounding the square, strategically placed. The snipers from the building shot at both protesters and police officers. It says 100 people were killed by the snipers, both Ukrainian citizens, police officers, and that was the Ukraine Holocaust. The snipers were professional mercenaries. They were hired and paid to do that job. Their assigned job was to kill about 100 people. They had been given precise instructions, hired and paid by whom, why 100 people had to be brutally killed. And of course, again, this is not my theory. This is just a theory I'm sharing with you guys, and you tell me what you think of it. This is because the CIA director, John Brennan, and Victoria Nuland wanted 100 people killed. That would trigger a coup d'etat in Ukraine, which in fact happened. And who organized these snipers in Ukraine to make this massacre? Who hired them? Who paid them? Eric CIA? I don't know. That's what it says here, possibly. Eric CIA was assigned that task by the CIA director, John Brennan. Brennan was the CIA director at the time in 2014, and Eric CIA was and is a CIA operative. He was Brennan's CIA point man in Ukraine in 2014. Eric is a CIA operative. He speaks fluently Ukrainian and Russian. CIA guy was the perfect guy for the job and a Brennan loyalist. He has been many times in Ukraine and he flew several times to Ukraine with Joe Biden. Eric is the guy responsible for the Ukraine Holocaust, allegedly, according to this theory, not mine, which killed 100 people. This is why CIA and Deep State protects him, and this is why the Deep State and the CIA do not want his name to be spoken. And this is the reason for the cover-up, also by the Chief Justice John Roberts, who allegedly, in this theory, is compromised, blackmailed, and owned by the clowns in action. This is why the gag orders not to pronounce his name and gag orders by the CIA, the horrific truth of what he did in Ukraine cannot be revealed. Eric hired and paid the snipers and organized the Ukraine massacre under John Brennan's orders. But who authorized Brennan to proceed with the massacre of 100 people? None other than Barack Hussein. It is clear now why Schiff has covered up for Eric. It is clear now why Adam Schiff did not allow him to testify in the impeachment hearings. And this makes Adam Schiff, as a matter of fact, an accomplice, apparently, in the killing of 100 people. Yeah. And then they pose a hypothetical question here. Imagine if a foreign hired snipers to shoot in NYC and kill 100 people in Times Square in tall buildings and NYPD officers. That's giving us, trying to draw some sort of parallel there. So I don't know. You guys do with that what you will. Getting back to what we're going to talk about here, also a few other news stories. So that was the theory. You guys do with that whatever you want. But Pelosi argues that Trump cannot be acquitted and suggests the defense team should be disbarred. So her rationale here, which is incredible, this is complete Dem logic here, because her logic is this, that President Trump can't be acquitted because they didn't have witnesses, therefore they did not have a trial. I know it's absurd, I know it's asinine, I know it sounds like the argument of a toddler, but that's where we're at now with these people. And it seems, though, that her thoughts on this are very interesting. So let's hear what she has to say about it, and then you guys tell me what you think. So we'll go ahead and watch this clip of her saying he will not be acquitted, and you cannot have an acquittal without a trial. So you guys are going to want to watch this clip real quick, and then when we get back, we'll talk about it.
He will not be acquitted. You cannot be acquitted if you don't have a trial, and you don't have a trial if you don't have witnesses and documentation. I also am very proud of our managers. We believe that they have been magnificent custodians of the Constitution by dint of their content, their presentation, their historic perspective, and their tone. They have made us all proud, and I've told our colleagues they give us a magnificent example to follow. And they do so in the face of the president's team is there to dismantle the Constitution of the United States. Imagine that you would say ever of any president, no matter who he or she is or whatever party, if the president thinks that his or her presidency, in this case his presidency, is good for the country, then any action is justified. Article 2 does not say you can do whatever you want. The Constitution does not say that. But these, I don't know how they can retain their lawyer status in the comments that they are making. I just pray that the senators will have the courage and the ability to handle the truth instead of blocking the truth.
So there you have it. She thinks that the lawyers should not be able to be lawyers anymore, basically get disbarred for presenting the case against their non-existent articles or non-existent crimes that they've alleged against President Trump. So, it's really starting to get drowned. It just becomes white noise in the background because there's nothing substantive happening. They just keep arguing the same stale talking points, arguing the same, factless claims, and giving us the same arguments for impeachment that are ambiguous and vague and don't give us any exact example of crimes other than this made up idea that they can dictate foreign policy to the president of the United States. In their world, they think that it's a crime if you don't continue to act in a corrupt way and enrich yourself, I guess. I guess that's what they think. Like, I think now I'm starting to see that They're trying to impeach President Trump because he won't let Don Jr. Go get a multi-million-dollar executive deal in a Ukrainian gas company. I mean, that's really what I think it is right now. They're like, oh, President Trump didn't get in on us on the scam. We got to remove him. It's what it feels like, and I think that's what it is. Not to mention you have Hillary Clinton finally accepting Tulsi Gabbard's lawsuit, where Tulsi Gabbard's trying to sue her. I'm not sure I trust Tulsi Gabbard at all, to be quite honest with you. I know that she may be a standalone candidate in the Democrat Party, and she's standing up to some of these people, but I think that's all by design. I think this is all part of a stunt to make her look more moderate. Obviously she's a CFR hack, and she has ties to a bunch of different things, and she is ultimately policy-wise, I don't agree with her on it, pretty much everything. So I just think this is all a big kabuki for us to make us think that she's a moderate when she's really not. And also, finally, this is crazy, right? So Bill Gates was in a 2019 Netflix documentary called The Next Epidemic, or Pandemic, I should say. And he basically predicts exactly this, that the coronavirus that you're seeing now would come from a Chinese wet market and spread across the whole world. And then you have to ask yourself, with all the information floating about this virus and how it's, looks like it's engineered, and I've heard from individuals that seem to think that this may have been some sort of biological weapons facility that was manufacturing weaponized viruses in China, where it accidentally got out. And yeah, they're eating bat soup, and yeah, they're doing a bunch of other weird stuff at these wet markets, and it's the most disgusting and probably the least clean thing you'll ever see in your life. But regardless of what it is, the fact that this is already happening, and that this was almost predicted directly by a person like Bill Gates, whose father happened to, have very close ties to some big eugenics movements in the early part of the 1900s, or later part of the 1900s, I should say. But yeah, you guys do with that what you will. When I saw this story, I just kind of looked at it and went, yeah, that pretty much makes sense to me. So with that, I think we have one more story here. We have Adam Schiff's fake Trump-Putin conversation again. So now he's gone past the point of no return, and he has no other option than to ride this sinking ship into the water and hope that if he keeps shoveling out, bailing out the water as much as he can, that it won't sink. But the reality is the hole is way too big, and the ship's going down with him in it. And just watch this little clip here. I want to show you this clip of what he says, and then you'll hear from Laura Ingraham and Newt Gingrich about their kind of analysis of it. But watch this.
He said it was a joke. Tonight, he made up a conversation that the president could have had with Vladimir Putin. Watch.
If the president went further and said to Putin in that secret meeting, I want you to hack Burisma. I couldn't get the Ukrainians to do it. And I'll tell you what, if you hack Burisma and you get me some good stuff, then I'm going to stop sending money to Ukraine.
The man is, it is a pathological, it's a reflexive Pavlovian response to Trump. You have to just make stuff up. You can't argue the case, you have to make it up.
Look, but I think also a comment on Schiff. Schiff personally is obviously a deranged human being.
So there you go. That pretty much sums it up. That's what we're up against here. A group of pathological liars who will say and do anything in order to keep themselves from getting into trouble for the crimes that they helped orchestrate over the past who knows how many decades, right? And as we expose more and more, they're going to keep coming harder and harder at President Trump and the rest of us, trying to shut us down, shut down our right to free speech, shut down our right to stand in protection of this country and this republic. And we have to continue to stand strong against them. And that's pretty much where we're going to go ahead and leave it. A few more things. Watch these videos, share them on your social media. You know there's a content algorithm a suppression algorithm that's being used to suppress the content that is produced here on this channel. So please watch these videos, share them on your social media. And if you don't know what QAnon is, watch this video right here. Also, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about everything that we covered here on the show. And a couple other things. This video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. Download the Brave Browser. It's a great product. You definitely want to try it. It's an internet browser. It's better than Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, whatever you're using right now. And if you use the link in the description, it's free. And if you use the link in the description to download it, install it, and run it on your computer, they'll make a contribution to this channel. So I encourage you to try it out. I use this product. I think it's great. That's why I'm sharing it with you. And also, this video is brought to you in part by the latest new Great Awakening coffee available here exclusively at RedPillLiving.com/JUSTINFORMED. Use the coupon code JUSTINFORMED to get 10% off your order of the new Great Awakening coffee. It's a great set of different blends of coffee that you guys will love. So we definitely want to support Patriot-owned businesses, and this is a way to do that. So you support the channel and you can get a good cup of coffee while you're at it. So go check out RedPillLiving.com/JUSTINFORMED. Use the coupon code JUSTINFORMED to get 10% off. Now, a few other ways you can help out the channel. You can find me over here at JustinFormedNews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. I'm on Twitter at JustinFormedU. We're almost at 50,000 followers here, so come over and give me a follow. If you guys aren't doing that yet, you should go check it out. And also, BitChute is the backup channel. If you guys want to try it, check it out. Links to everything will be in the description. Also, if you want to help out the channel financially, there's Patreon, Patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. It's a monthly donation. You set it and forget it. Now you're helping create content on this channel on a regular basis since back in July of 2019, YouTube decided to fully demonetize basically this whole channel, every video I've ever made, and trying to put it out of business. But you guys put a stop to that, and your support over here is what keeps this channel alive. So thank you for that. Also, I have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. Links to everything will be down in the description of this video. So with that, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today I have a verse out of 2 Corinthians to share with you, and then we'll talk about it briefly. And it's just one verse. It's from chapter 1, verse 12. And it's talking about having a clear conscience. And these words, they mean a lot to me, and I hope they mean a lot to you. But it says, "For our boast is this, the testimony of our conscience, that we have conducted ourselves in the world, and especially toward you, with God-given sincerity and purity, not by fleshly wisdom, but by God's grace." And that's it. That's the key to having a clear conscience. That's the key to living a clean life. That's the key to putting God above all else, right? Is remember that we live with purity and sincerity, and we have righteousness in our hearts. And we don't live by what fleshly wisdom that we see here in this world, but we live by God's grace, which is greater and above all. And we have to focus on that, because we have to not only be better than this evil that surrounds us, but we have to stand as shining lights in the world, as beacons of hope for others who are lost, who are yet to be found, who maybe don't have the strongest faith. You can be a catalyst in someone else's life to make their life incredible, so much better, because God can do it through you, and God does it through all of us. And we just have to open our hearts up and accept the Holy Spirit and use it to help the world at large. So that's my message to you. Go out and be a catalyst for good, a catalyst for change, and do unto others as you would want unto yourself, and be that light in the world and help shine bright for all to see, so that you can help as many as you can. And that's what I try to do every day, and I hope that it resonates with you and it gets you guys to really go that route as well. So that's my message. I want to say thank you for watching. Again, come here, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and hit it, punch it, elbow it, tap it, reverse roundhouse kick it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. But that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.